My golden child brother tried to ruin my wedding. My fiancée got revenge. I've always lived in my brother's shadow. Marcus was the special one. Best grades, student council president, sports awards. I was just the younger brother. Every Christmas followed the same pattern. In childhood, he got original Lego sets, I got cheap knockoffs. In teenage years, he got a new computer for studying. I got his old one for games. In high school, when phones became normal, he got a cool Motorola Razr. I got the basic Nokia just for calling. Mom always had excuses. Failed an important test. He was exhausted from extra classes. Crashed Dad's car. He was upset about breaking up with his girlfriend. I won a school competition. Must have been easy questions this year. Dad invested everything in him. Tutors, sports clubs, music school, which he quit after a month. For graduation, they bought him a used BMW because your first car should be prestigious. I got Dad's old Ford, and only because Marcus got a new one. After school, he went to business school. Future entrepreneur. I got into logistics. At least it's a free scholarship. He partied at student events. I worked as a warehouse loader after classes. 5 years after graduation, the picture was clear. He opened a restaurant with our parents' money and his father-in-law's loan. I worked my way up from junior manager to regional director at an international company. But at family gatherings, everyone only discussed his entrepreneurial talent. The pattern continued with relationships. He married Victoria, daughter of a major distribution network owner. Lavish wedding, Maldives honeymoon, house as a wedding gift from her parents. Mom never tired of telling everyone about her successful older son. Then I met Olivia. It happened at a corporate event. Our companies were working on a joint project. She was a lawyer, but not one of those pretentious corporate sharks. Smart, great sense of humor, knew how to listen. First time in ages, I felt important. We started dating. Turned out we both loved old movies, 1,000-piece puzzles, and Thai food. She didn't try to be perfect, just was herself. After a year, I proposed. She said yes, before I could even finish asking. Problems started at our engagement party. Marcus wasn't as happy in his marriage anymore. Victoria was completely focused on social status, endless charity events, social gatherings, photo shoots for local magazines. Their marriage had become a well-choreographed Instagram show, but divorce would mean losing her father's connections and destroying his business. Everyone knew Marcus's restaurants were only successful because of his father-in-law's contracts. Olivia was Victoria's complete opposite. Instead of social events, evenings with books. Instead of Instagram photo shoots, real work on complex cases. Instead of discussing latest designer bags, deep conversations about life. And Marcus, he started looking at her differently. It started with coincidental meetings. He began visiting the same coffee shop near her office, showed up at professional events where she was speaking. Then he created a reason for regular contact, invited her law firm to bid on a contract for his restaurants. It makes sense to keep it in the family, he told our parents. After they won the bid, things accelerated. Weekly meetings to discuss the contract, calls getting later in the evening, messages becoming more personal. You're too smart for my brother. With your talent, you deserve to be with someone more ambitious. I could show you a completely different life. Olivia recorded every conversation, saved every message, screenshot all calls after 10 p.m. He thinks he's playing me, she said, but he doesn't understand who he's dealing with. At family dinners, Marcus would sit next to Victoria, hug her, talk about their future plans. While under the table, he'd send Olivia messages. Imagine how we'd look together. A month before the wedding, Marcus became bolder. After another business meeting, he offered to drive Olivia home. In the parking lot, he tried to take her hand. Why go through with this wedding charade? Face it, you're playing in the wrong league. My brother, he's a good guy, but he'll always be just a middle manager. I could open doors to a real life for you. Olivia turned on her phone's recorder and feigned interest. What about Victoria? With Victoria, everything's turned into a show. All she cares about are social events, charity balls, Instagram photo shoots. Our marriage is just a pretty picture for society. She plays the role of the perfect businessman's wife. I play the loving husband. But it's all fake. With you, it could be something real. At the family dinner before the wedding, he gave a touching toast to my little brother, who finally found his happiness. An hour later, he texted Olivia, "It's not too late to change everything. Think about your future." Victoria suspected nothing. On the contrary, she helped with wedding planning, shared contacts of florists and decorators. Marcus insisted on being my best man. Who else but your big brother? It's tradition. Our parents were delighted. Their sons finally seemed so close. A week before the wedding, Olivia showed me everything she'd collected. Messages, recorded conversations, parking lot videos. He thinks he can ruin our happiness like he's ruined everything else in your life. It's time to show everyone his true face. The wedding day started perfectly. Olivia was stunning in her dress. Victoria helped with final touches, taking photos for Instagram. #perfectfamily, #wedding day. Marcus stood next to me during the ceremony, holding the rings and smiling for cameras. During the celebration, the best man's speech moment arrived. Marcus stood up, raised his glass. Dear guests, today is a special day. A day when my little brother, that's when the screen behind him came alive. His first message to Olivia appeared, then the second, third, screenshots of late-night calls, the parking lot video. Face it, you're playing in the wrong league. Everything could be different with you. It's not too late to change everything. The silence in the hall was deafening. Victoria slowly stood up, but she didn't create the scene everyone expected. She just looked at Marcus with disgust. So that's why you were so interested in Olivia's law firm lately? That's why you insisted on their contract? Her father, always the composed businessman, broke his usual calm. He simply stood up and left the hall. Everyone knew. His silent anger was worse than any shouting. Marcus went pale. Without his father-in-law's support, his business wouldn't last long. Mom covered her face with her hands. Dad, who always defended Marcus, just stared at the floor. For the first time in their lives, their golden child couldn't talk his way out of this. Marcus tried to save the situation. This isn't what you think. Olivia misunderstood everything. Misunderstood? Olivia stood up. Maybe you'd like to explain how to correctly understand these messages? Or tell everyone about trying to catch me alone in the parking lot? He tried to play it off. We're family. This was just friendly communication. Victoria removed her wedding ring and placed it in front of him. We'll talk later. My lawyer will contact you. Then she simply turned to the guests. Sorry for the scene, please continue celebrating. Marcus stood there stunned. For the first time in his life, his charm couldn't save him. For the first time, everyone saw his true face. Marcus quietly left the hall. Guests whispered, but quickly returned to celebrating, opening new champagne, turning the music back on. Update. 1 week later. Everything happened quickly and quietly. No scandals or drama. Victoria hired one of the best divorce attorneys. Her father terminated all contracts with Marcus's restaurants. My brother moved to a hotel. Looks like for a long time. Update. 3 months later. Marcus is trying to save his business, but without his father-in-law's connections, things are going badly. Victoria threw herself completely into working at her father's company. Parents, for the first time, don't know how to defend their older son. Olivia and I returned from our honeymoon trying to forget this whole story. Update. 1 year later. Marcus sold his restaurants and moved to another city. Victoria took charge of a new project in her father's company. Parents started treating me differently. First time in my life, Olivia and I are expecting a baby edit. Thanks for the support. Answering common questions. No, not in contact with my brother. Parents are trying to rebuild relationships. Victoria is doing fine, focused on her career. Final update. Stop saying we destroyed the family. Marcus did that himself. We just showed the truth.